and highlight construction career pathway. We are very excited to have a special guest, which I'll introduce shortly. I just want to share some remarks and tell you the purpose of the workforce webinar, and we'll start our presentations now. Thank you all. If you can, I know I see some folks in the chat, feel free to share the link with some friends to join, ask them to join us. And this information will be recorded, so you can also share the link once we have it, and it will be on our Greater Baltimore Urban League Facebook page, social media, and also our website. So again, thank you all. I wanted to just highlight the next slide, please. The purpose of the webinars. We try to share information to Baltimore community that we believe is helpful. And that is, last week we featured mental health in the workplace, which we all know is a major, major issue. Some of our presenters even highlighted that that's our next pandemic, is the mental health crisis. So if you had a chance to participate last week, that information is on our social media page, and we can share the link as well. But the Workforce Wednesday webinar series is dedicated to make sure we are always sharing information and resources to the Baltimore community, make sure they're always work ready. Again, I said that we provide this semi-monthly, but it's a great opportunity to meet folks, even in a virtual environment, but to highlight some wonderful things happening in Baltimore, and also promote some of our major career pathways. So we're excited today to talk about construction, and we will feature an organization. But some things I wanted to share today is 8 tips for a rewarding construction career. And I was so grateful for a friend of mine who shared this information earlier. So I wanted to make sure I shared it because there was new information to me, and I definitely wanted to make sure you have it. So pick a trade, which trade best fits your personality. There's a whole bunch of different trades in construction. So we did provide constructioncareers.org as the website, and I can put that in the chat for more information, but there's about 30 construction careers. So just a lot of wealth of information there. There's videos, there's about the pay, the benefits. The second major tip is to make sure you're qualified. You must at least be 18 years old, have a valid driver's license, have a high school diploma or GED or the equivalent, and some apprenticeship. There are some Baltimore City high schools that focus on apprenticeships, such as Mervo and Carver, I believe. So those are 2 high schools that I'm aware of that provide a lot of apprenticeships and opportunities in construction. Some programs have aptitude tests, so you may have to pass that. But if you're still in high school, you may or need to look at your math and communication courses. Today's construction workers have a lot of resources available to them, but there's also a need to be bilingual. So I wanted to make sure I stress that. So take any courses that you can if you are in high school to get as much hands-on experience as possible. Obviously, this is a career that you don't go into without talking to some of your parents if you're 18 or younger. So if you're in high school, have a conversation, a courageous conversation with your parents. There's a lot of you'll learn shortly about the revenue in careers in construction and how much money can be made even as a developer. But I want to make sure that you understand that you have to figure out what's best for you. Next slide, please. Talk to construction workers. I think in my career, I always find myself talking to different folks about what's the benefits, how did you get into it? So have a conversation with someone that's in construction so you can better understand the rewards of the career, and also have a candid conversation about maybe some of the challenges, some of the things they're not going to tell you on in an interview, and get a chance to go on YouTube, look at some career pathways. That's a great idea. And then just got to make a call to some construction trade unions and talk to them about what are some identified construction trades that you'd like to pursue, and find out how to get more information about those trades. Start the application process. We know many high school graduates looking to go into college. Some are looking to go into career and workforce. So sometimes college is not for everyone. Some are looking to go into the military, but start the application process. Just like college, the apprenticeship can be year round. You have to download various apps to get to that application process. And then you gotta be mindful of the deadlines. Get fit. And I know our presenter is gonna talk about that, but being fit for the job. And that is because it's not an office job. It's not a sit in your cubicle all day. It's not a 7 a.m. to 3 p.m. job, but you got to have some stamina, get it in shape. So I was glad to see that tip there. And I'm excited that maybe that Shelly will talk about that as well. Um, the largest Maryland construction companies by revenue. And I was very, not surprised, but just to look at the amount of money folks made in 2020. Yes, we had a pandemic. We're still in the pandemic, but construction jobs are on a grow in Maryland. So I wanted to just share some information with you. Whiting Turner Contracting Company, located in Towson, Maryland. Their 2020 company revenue was $503 million. Yes, that's what I said, $503 million. They have a staff with $8.72 billion that they paid for staff. And they currently have about 1,183 projects that they had in 2020. The second one was Hensel Phelps Construction Company. This is located in Virginia, but their revenue for 2020 was $390 million. Yep, $390 million. And they have about 4 projects that they completed in Baltimore in 2020 that may have been impacted because of the pandemic and obviously the state shutdown. The Clock Group in Baltimore, Maryland, their 2020 revenue was $317 million. So they had about 211 projects in 2020 in Baltimore and in Maryland. The Gilbane Building Company, which is a minority minority MBE, minority business, and they are actually doing a lot of projects. And my presenter shared that earlier. They're doing projects at Morgan State University, and they are number 4 with $272 million in revenue, and currently have 136 projects that they completed in 2020. And the last one that I was going to mention was the Turner Construction Company. They're out of Baltimore, Maryland. And I just wanted to make sure that we are aware that there's a lot happening in Maryland, and there's a lot of opportunities in growth to generate wealth. And this next presenter is going to talk about that. So I wanted to talk and introduce our presenter. Shelly is the founder of the Black Women Build Baltimore, a home ownership and wealth building initiative. So not just home building, but a generating wealth initiative that trains Black women in carpentry, electrical, and plumbing by restoring vacant and deteriorated houses in West Baltimore. Once they are completed, they have the opportunity to purchase those homes, and if they desire, but they also have an opportunity to work on those homes, which I think is a great opportunity. Shelly has lived all over the world. I'm learning so much about Shelly this evening. She's lived in Belgium, in Ashturn, in India, to a science station in Antarctica. She moved to Baltimore in 2015 after spending 20 years in Seattle, Washington, where she was a union carpenter for many years. While in the Pacific Northwest, she also managed her own construction company and has bought and sold numerous homes, restoring each one. So I'm so excited to hear more about that. After attending law school as the William H. Gates Public Service Law Scholar at the University of Washington School of Law, Shelly decided to put her skills as a carpenter and her passion for economic and reproductive justice together by using her degree and particular skills set to begin Black Women Build Baltimore. Since her first round in August 2019, Black Women Build has rebuilt 6 houses and are well on their way to meet another 6 by helping 6 women become first-time homeowners annually. To keep the houses affordable, Black Women Build works with the community Historical and Architectural Preservation CHAP, which provides a tax credit, a 10-year tax credit on the property value, increasing the resulting from the rehabilitation work. So as they rehab the house, they get tax credits. And Shelly's going to talk more about that. But it allows a homeowner to save thousands and thousands of dollars. So that's a blessing. Another initiative to increase affordability is slated to begin in 2022, using low energy net zero building strategies to reduce the high utility costs that can quickly put a Baltimore homeowner in debt or foreclosure. And you're all on my sheet with that, because we just don't know as we become homeowners, the other things we incur. Black Women Build is not only rebuilding sections of historically redlined neighborhoods, but they're doing so economically, environmentally, and consciously. So what a great opportunity to share this platform with you, Shelly Halstead, and we're excited to feature you. And so the floor is yours, and we're excited about what you're going to share. If you have questions, you can put them in the chat. I have a few questions we'll ask at the end. Again, this webinar is being recorded, so we can always share the link afterwards. So thank you again, Shelly. We're ready for you.
Great, thank you. Can you hear me? I really appreciate you having me share a little bit about what we're doing in Central West Baltimore, historical Central West Baltimore, where the row houses are just phenomenal. I just have to say, when I came to Baltimore as a carpenter, I just found that there was so much potential here, and so I'm really excited to share what I'm doing. But this is about the construction career pathway, and I enter it through carpentry. So let's see if I can do this right. If I can make my page do what I need it to do. Shoot. There it is. There I am. Okay, so my name's Shelly Halstead. I'm the founder and executive director of Black Women Build Baltimore, and we started late 2017. I brought my skill set with me along with my cat and scaffolding, moved a bunch of stuff across the country, and got an old row home in Marble Hill, historic Marble Hill, and just started to plug away at that to understand the brick row home a bit better. Seattle, it's all wood, right? It's like forest, so we're just used to wood. So started this nonprofit, and then now we have our program manager and our materials assistant. Brianna was a participant in our program, and she was really hands-on and really was excited about learning the trades. And so I thought it was a great opportunity to hire her once she finished the program and got her house and get her into the trade. So she's multifaceted. So Nicole already mentioned what our mission was, but it is about home ownership and wealth building. And for me, it's through home ownership that we are going to build wealth. It's how we enter the middle class in the United States. So it's home ownership. And hopefully all of us here are home owners or looking toward that. We're working in Druid Heights, which is another historical neighborhood that abuts Upton. Our program, we do a lot of financial literacy, a lot of skill building, and we try to create community with whom we work and where we live. So with people out in the community, but also our neighbors. And part of this is about learning what is a good neighbor and trying to be a good neighbor. And what I really want people to do is learn some of the trades, because for me, this has gotten me basically where I am today. And that is being able to work on any property I come up on. And if you've seen the properties in Baltimore, some of them are very degraded. Most of the properties we get are, they have trees growing out of them more than not. So this is kind of, what we're getting into. I've already sort of shared about what we're doing, but why we're doing it in Central West Baltimore is because of redlining and how the disparate lending practices of banks disallowed Black people to basically buy homes or buy them for exorbitant rates. And you can see the difference between where I'm working in Druid Heights and then and Upton, and you cross Utah and you go into Bolton Hill, and you can see exactly where redlining began. And Baltimore was ground zero for that. So this is a finished home that we've worked on. We install the floors, the windows, the doors. I'll get into that a little bit more. And so each person gets to pick out their floors and their tile in their bathroom. I'm going to show you some pictures of what it was, right? But partly we're just really rebuilding these houses, and you're learning some skills, right? So again, home ownership, pathway to wealth is what it's all about. I should have cut these slides down. Okay, anyway, so the build. We're touching all kinds of tools, and it's really important, I think, for women to use power tools, to get our hands on them and to understand how things work. You can save thousands and thousands of dollars just by learning how to use a saw and a drill motor, seriously, and watch a little YouTube. These are the houses that we're starting with. These have been mostly gutted. As you see, they're very degraded. This is one of the first houses we worked on. We had to shore it up. And so we did that. We hire some sub trades, the framers and stabilizers. They come in and clean them out and stabilize this. In this house, there is an end unit and this wall was bowed out. And so we were basically holding this together until we could put these stars in to hold it. Again, this is some of the framing and siding that you could be doing. And this is all residential construction, which is very different from commercial construction. In that in residential construction, you're going to be doing a lot of hands-on. You're going to touch almost every part of the house. As a carpenter, you would touch every part of it. From the demo to the time that you're putting the locks on the doors and handing the keys to the owner. So you could also do repointing. So brickwork, Baltimore, ton of brickwork. In fact, we just had a brick company, a masonry company contact us and say, do you have any women who are interested in masonry work, right? Like, this is great, great work. You're doing repointing. You're stripping the paint off. You're in a lot of historical work, which is really cool, I find, to restore these old facades. So here's a little more. Here's Brianna. Looks like she's posing. But these are the houses that we're working on right now. And we will restore, because the interiors are so degraded, we don't have to restore those to historical accuracy. But the facades we do. So we strip off the paint, we repoint them. We put in wood windows and wood doors with a transom or a relight above it. And we use something called the Baltimore bullnose, which is this rounded bullnose that goes around the trim. These guys are doing some decking. This would save you thousands of dollars if you did this yourself. And so they did. There's electrical work that we do in these houses. We wire outlets and light switches. We put in the recessed lighting. Hire an electrician. Most people don't leave their houses for under $200 a day. Like I'd be like, yeah, it's not worth my time to get my tools together and come over and do something. So if you know how to change out a switch yourself, or you know how to troubleshoot that, you're saving hundreds of dollars just by being able to do that. Change out your toilet, $250, easy. So, just stuff like that, thinking about that. These are Chanel and Brianna putting in the recessed lighting in one of their houses. The plumbing, we have our rough-in plumbers come in, but we do all the fixtures. So we'll put in the sinks and the showers and do the tiling and set the toilets and hook up the dishwasher and all that sort of stuff, faucets, so all this is what's in the walls. And this is plumbers. What they say about plumbing water is that's the smell of money. And it's true. And electricians, what we used to say is I never saw an electrician miss a break or have a bad back. So that's just sort of like there's a culture you were talking about, think about what you like to do. There's a culture to each of these trades, right? And electricians are known for, being a little persnickety and also very right on, and they don't get very dirty. you know, and plumbers, like nobody wants to deal with the plumbing problem, and that's why they can charge you what they can charge you. Um, so if you know how to fix it yourself, that's great. Insulation makes you itchy. I don't even know what else to say about that. But this is Brianna installing the insulation. And it's just amazing to see how a house is put together, right? Like this is us, we're taking in 130 sheets of sheetrock per house. And I'm able to move those alone, sheet by sheet. So you were talking about being fit. I've had years and years of being fit. Let me just say that. And now I'm getting tired. But it's something that's, that's really that you can do it, like you slowly build up to it, just like anything. You don't read a 500-page novel in a day. You started with the alphabet, right? So it's very similar, right? You're going to do some hands-on stuff, and you're going to do more labor intensive stuff. When you begin, you're sort of just the laborer for everything, but bit by bit you're going to learn a bit more, and that is what I find exciting. Sheetrocking a house is just, I don't like to do it. I don't know who does. Somebody who does it every day. That's who you should hire. Don't ever do it. But this again is one of the finished products of the houses. So it looked, if I don't know if you remember, but it looked like it was gutted, right? There's no ceiling. I mean, there's no roof, there's no floors. And this is what we brought it back to. You can see a little bit more of that, you know, um, just some finish work, skylights, the little rosettes that are on top of the trim. That's a Baltimore thing. It's also a period thing. But so that's quite nice. Again, the just being able to set the sinks and set the toilet and put the tile in. Um, Thousands and thousands of dollars. Cabinets, putting your kitchens in, being able to measure correctly, in order to order the right cabinets. So these are all things that we are learning, or I'm teaching during our program participation. Um, this is what those houses look like now for the most part. So you see the trim around it, the doors with the transoms, and these houses were going to be demolished, and we are now actually just rehabbing the entire block. I think when we finish this year, we'll rehab 10 houses on this block, which is great because it was going from just being another empty field into a more well-used. I mean, it's just, there's no reason. This is not a great photo of cornices, but hey, if anybody wants to make $1 million, you should start doing some of these cornices and learning the different pieces of these cornices, learning how to use a scroll saw, learning how to use like these dental things. Is I don't even know all the names, and or building the brackets, right? Like Baltimore is full of cornices. Look up at these. I saw one today. It was like just on the sidewalk. It had fallen down, and I was walking to work, and so like I went back and picked it up and put it together, and you put the two parts together, and they were actually flowers, right? They look like a little daffodil, and it was just so beautiful. Like it's just this is tradesmanship, right? Craftsmanship, and I don't know. I love Baltimore for that. I just think it's beautiful. We did some siding, we did some decking, some stairs, but the backs of the houses. So if you remember, we were shoring up the one on the very left. We were shoring up the side of that one, and that one is now intact. This tree that you see on the left, that was actually inside the building. That was what was growing outside of it, or inside of it, actually. And so we demoed that back of the building, but I kept the tree because it looks really cool. I don't know. So anyway, if people are interested in learning with us with Black Women Build Baltimore, you can sign up on our website. You can do the intake process. If you get in, we have some partners that we work with, and one of them is Station or Tool Library, and they teach classes. And so they help us teach some of the stationary tool classes before they get with us. So the houses that we work on now are 2-bedroom, 1 bath. We always put heated floors in the bathroom in the tile because nobody likes cold floors in the winter. We do stainless steel appliances, granite or some solid surface countertop, washer, dryer. And we're selling these houses all brand new for about $85,000, which is a pretty decent price. When we start some larger houses, they'll go a little bit higher. Everybody talks about flipping or being a developer. These are very difficult to do that with because they need so much work. We are a nonprofit, and that is actually why we are able to do these, because if we weren't grant and donation based, it's actually not it's not an affordable model for some. Hopefully we'll start bringing up some of the property values so that if other people are interested in buying properties and rehabbing them themselves, that's quite possible. So we do this a couple times a year. We have a cohort, and they work together, and we really want people to know their neighbors. I think people should know their neighbors anyway. Just to watch your cat when you go out of town, for example. I don't know, Biscuit's sleeping over there. Anyway, we meet Monday through Thursday, 9 to 3. And I say it takes about 4 months, but I don't know. I push really hard. Otherwise there would be no Black Women Build Baltimore. But 9 to 3, people are working. And also people are really tired. Like if you're not used to this, again, Nicole, you said being fit, and it's really about pacing and just learning to listen to your body. It's really physical work. For us, if you're wanting to be in our program and you want to buy a house, these are the things we're looking at. You need a minimum credit score of 640. You need to save a little bit of money because we want, there's got to be a little buy-in from you, but we also are, we're able to get a lot of grants. One of our persons, their grant stacking, actually we're selling the house for 85 and their mortgage is 55. That's how 55 grand. So 30-year mortgage, $359 a month. So I'm just saying we're really into making this affordable, right? And we're not giving anything away. You are working for this, you are rebuilding your house, and ideally you're going to be a participating member of the community, right? And so for that, and working with us, we're going to make these truly affordable. So some of the talking about the cornices and the facades and that sort of stuff, Baltimore City has a great thing. It's the Committee for Historical and Architectural Preservation. And those guys, some people find them to be sticklers, and they're historians and they're architecture people. So yeah, they're going to be, and when I said persnickety about the electricians, like they got nothing on the electricians. So we work with them because we really want our participants to be able to have that tax break. Everyone knows taxes in Baltimore City are just astronomical. I mean, really. And, for some areas of town, for the services that you feel like you receive or don't receive, your taxes are really high. So what this does is, like these houses, the taxes are $131 a year because the appraised value is so low. So for 10 years, the taxes they will start at $131 a year, and they will go up incrementally. So by the time in 10 years, they may be paying $500 in taxes. And so the idea is that, you're starting off, you don't want to, you rehab this house, and then all of a sudden you're hit with a tax bill, and it makes your mortgage go up a lot. So now you have 10 years to really kind of plan out how you're going to pay for that, plan out, I don't know, are you going to sell it? Are you going to, have you worked into a job that's more lucrative, where you're able to, to pay these higher taxes? Maybe with a mortgage that's $359, you've actually paid off your house and now you're just paying taxes and insurance, right? So that's something we, I would prefer a 15-year mortgage, but the 359 for 30 years, that's good, but you can always throw money at it. And why you could pay that off is because if you are a tradesperson, you make money. You just do. It is, I can't tell you, I've been able to do a lot of things in my life um, because of the wage that I earned as a tradesperson. And it's every trade, right? It's all the building trades is what I'm talking about. And each of them easily starts, and I should say they easily start at 20 bucks an hour, right? I mean, you might be a laborer for like 15, 16 bucks an hour, but you should be soon enough earning close to $20 an hour. And that is almost on, honestly, almost on any job. If somebody's really paying your wages, they should be paying you about that once you start learning. Um, and that's a decent wage, right? And so building on that, being able to work on your own home, being able to do a little side hustle, right? Like say you work 30, 40 hours a week. Now you got a side hustle, you're building your neighbor's fence, and that's a grand or two, right? And you can do that. I mean, I can do it in a weekend. I mean, I'm going to work really hard, but it's like you can get it done, right? So I don't know. Trades, I went to law school, I took the Maryland bar, I volunteered for a while, and I just honestly, I'm a worker bee in that I really love to see what I've done. I can look back over the course of a day, over the course of a week, a year, 10 years, whatever it is, and say, I did that. I built that. I started with nothing, right? And I brought the materials together, and now somebody's able to live in that home, right? And so that to me, being able to something that's very tangible, right? That you work on, and then also again, great wage. So anyway, I've spent way too much time, but I just want to say, I don't know, come join us, right? Like apply, tell people about us, and we've got a ton of houses, and we just can't wait to rebuild them. So
Oh my God, thank you. Oh my gosh, Shelly, Shelly,
mm,
Shelly, Shelly, you are just exposing us more and more. Thank you, thank you, thank you for what you're sharing and all what you're doing. And I did not acknowledge this in your bio, so I do apologize that I did not acknowledge that you are a Open Society Institute
mm,
Fellow 2018. So I
yep.
just want you to spend some time talking about what that experience was like and how it benefited you in your career. Because that there may be folks on a call who may be interested and may not
Mhm.
know how that can be a game changer. So that's going
Yeah,
to be my
thank
question.
yeah, absolutely. Open Society Institute was I think that's applying for that. It was this idea, and they want you to have an idea that's going to benefit the community of Baltimore. And it can be honestly, some people do urban farming. I'm doing construction. Some people do reading after school. Some people are just like building community within immigrant groups. Like it's very, very different across the board, right? But what it gave me was the ability for people to recognize that I have an idea that somebody, honestly, somebody with money is like, you know what, I'm going to bet on this. You've thought this through, you're able to articulate it, and you have some groundwork for how it's going, right? And so being a part of OSI and meeting other fellows, talking with them about, how to really make these things happen. So um, it's not only the support from the foundation, but it's the support from the community of 20 years, now it's 20 plus years of OSI fellows, right?
Mhm.
And we are everywhere, right? There's in all facets of work in Baltimore, and some have moved beyond Baltimore. But like if I want to know someone or if I want an introduction, very, very helpful. I was getting no traction on saving these houses. Like nobody would return my calls or my emails, or they were just like, I mean, they just blew me off basically. And then I got the OSI, and then all of a sudden, somebody returned my email, and they said, well, you know what, maybe we could, save half the block. Let's see what you could do. And I really think that it was because I received the OSI that somebody vetted me, and that's really what it is. Somebody vetted me, and so that other people didn't have to. And I don't, that sounds a little weird, but it's like people are busy, bureaucracy is busy being bureaucracy. And so here I am knocking, and they're like, who are you? Where are you from? And so that somebody else took the time to read that resume, and said, oh yeah, she actually does get something done, right? She doesn't just say it, she actually does it. And so OSI, I think, really finds those people. And so if you are passionate about something and you have an idea and you want to float that and you want to put it out there, you want to put it on paper, you want to apply, OSI is a great spot for that. And I don't know, I'm happy to talk with anyone about that. It was just a really great experience for me.
Great. I have a couple questions, and then I did ask folks in the chat to share some if they did want to have one, and they also can come off the mute button if they want to ask directly to you. How long does it take for each house? I know you said 4 months, but is that typically the length of time, or is that just like?
That's just me because I push.
Okay.
So I mean, honestly, we're doing 3 houses at a time. So we work in clusters, and these are smaller, right? Really, they're like less than 1,000 square feet. They're about 980. So these you can do, right? We started these in, I don't know, mid-April, and there's sheetrock on them, in them. I mean, so it goes pretty fast. I would say from the time the framers or the stabilization crew gets them, it's probably 6 months altogether. But for our purposes, when I work with the women, it's about 4 months. That's my goal. But I would say 6 months. And that's for all 3 houses. So we're doing them consecutively.
Mm-hmm. Now, you did mention the difference between residential and commercial, and I'm aware of that. But is there a benefit for a woman going to construction just to focus on residential, or just kind of get in where you fit in, or if you can work with someone? Honestly,
I would say get in where you fit in. I mean, I got my training in the union, which is honestly, it's a great if you like repetition, because commercial jobs are huge, right? So it's like, I mean, I don't know, you can perfect it, right? Because you're doing the same thing over and over, but you actually, you learn it, and then you start to learn. See, if you learn it correctly, then you know what it needs to be, and you can start to mess around with how you get it done. Because you could, it's not, if you're cutting corners, it's not because you're doing something less, it's because you understood something about it. And that's what the union gave me. Horrible experience, just so you know. I mean, super sexist, super racist, super homophobic. Really, I was very combative during that time. And so it really is, I have a personality that doesn't take that. And so some people might not fare very well in that setting. And so it's difficult. Out here, I'm meeting more employers who have come to us and said, hey, we would love any women that come through your program to come and work for us. So I'm finding employers that are really seeking out women and Black women to do this work, right? And so there's something that I find that if that's happening, they're going to have a more hospitable work environment than I did. Yep. So, and then commercial, again, it's just really big work, and it's different work. So if you're doing commercial, usually you're doing, as a carpenter, you're doing a lot of concrete work. It's all rough unless you're doing finish work. It's just very different. It's a rougher, I find it to be rougher work, right? And residential is going to be very difficult as a woman for, like, I would say, framing. There's a lot of, it's mostly like Latinos who are doing a lot of the framing. So you were talking about, being bilingual, very great place to learn Spanish, you know. But like they're really great. They're really fast. They're really good for the most part, the ones I work with. And so I learn a lot in terms of framing from them,
Okay.
but it would be difficult to get on a residential framing crew. So, you know, small time, I shouldn't say small time, but smaller developers
Okay.
might be the place for residential for you to learn because we're doing everything. And so, like Brianna, she's learning everything, you know,
Okay.
a bit of everything. And I think that's, in some ways, that's a really nice way to go.
Good, good, good.
Mhm.
Talk about why Baltimore? Why that area? Why Baltimore as the location for you? And then why
Mhm.
here in Marble Hill? And I know it's historic. Tell
It
me.
is. It's, I mean, it's historic. And I don't know, you go to law school, before law school, you learn about Thurgood Marshall, and he grew up like right around the corner.
Oh,
You know what I mean? And the Mitchells and, you know, and like Pennsylvania Avenue, and like, you know, like there was a lot happening, and it's historical. But it's also beautiful. And I for me trying to start this thing, I really hated office work. I was just like, if I do this, it's not going to work for me. Right.
mhm,
And so I really was trying to figure out what I could do. And I had always wanted, well, in law school, I tried to do something with like law and Black women and discrimination, harassment in the trades. And nobody cared, honestly. Nobody wanted to fund that fellowship, to be quite honest. um, and so I was like, but I still want to do this thing. I want to help Black women. As a Black woman, I want to see us thrive. It's really quite simple for me. And pragmatically, I'm just like, I know how to build, and I can rebuild houses. And I came to Baltimore because I wanted an urban environment, right? So basically I wanted, there needed to be Black women, and there needed to be housing stock that was affordable. And I was living in DC. I had a job for a year doing federal policy. So I did that, and I was just like, no way. And so I was just like, how do I do this thing? You know, I'm going to move to Baltimore. It could have been Detroit. It could have been, you know, Cleveland or Cincinnati, St. Louis. You know what I mean? Like it could have been those places, but I was in DC, and I came up to Baltimore, and it was just beautiful. Like just to me, just beautiful, so much potential. And so that's where we landed. My cat.
What's the
I don't
cat's
care.
name again?
I don't care. She's always going to be in the story. That's
What's
my
the
girl.
cat's name again, Shelly? I didn't get.
Well, actually, her name's Bella. She is since passed, but I have Biscuit.
Okay.
Um, and he actually was living in the alley behind the houses we were building. And I scooped him up, and he has a great life now. That's all I'm going to say. He's like, good.
Yeah, he's probably glad. Did you found him?
Oh
Scoop
yeah,
him up.
man, he's tight. He's like, oh, you're so awesome. And that's what I like to hear. So anyway,
You
um,
you mentioned about a pathway to wealth, and I know as the Urban League, that's one of our pillars is to make sure we promote advocacy, home ownership, and just how important is that? Like, I mean, for folks that don't understand the connections, I just
yeah, man.
bring it home to us.
Black women have the least amount of wealth than any other demographic group in the United States. It is like what, between 0 and 100. And if you're a Black woman and you have a child, usually you are like negative, right? Like and it is, and again, home ownership is the pathway, right? And I'm not talking about wealth like Bill Gates and like these people. I'm not even talking Oprah, right? I'm not even talking like, you know, a millionaire, right? I'm talking about having a safe place to be, having your own home, having your property appreciate, having something that you can pass down to your family members, right? Like that's what I'm talking. That is wealth,
Yeah.
right? Because it's financial. It's absolutely financial. But if you have a house, a safe place to be, this thing that's yours that you can take care of, that's going to build more for you. And that's like emotional, spiritual, psychological wealth, right? but it is about money, right? I mean, you can use the house to, and I don't want, and it's not a bank. I'm not saying, oh, it's not like an ATM. Your house is not an ATM, right? But if you are financially responsible and you have some of that, you understand what that means, to own something and to not be like, that's the debt you have. That debt is the best debt, honestly, you will ever get in. And that is if you keep it real, you understand your debt to income and like that sort of stuff, right? So you can use it to start a business. You can use your house to start, to go to school. You can use your house to buy another property, right? And so those are ways to increase, I think, the amount of, and now we're talking money again, wealth, increase that by using your house. And it's difficult because, again, I am not a big proponent of saying flipping houses, using that, using your home as that ATM, because I really want to stress how important it is to understand your finances and how important it is to be financially responsible, because it doesn't matter if you have a house, if you can't, you have to like, use your credit card to like go out and do anything, right? Then you're house poor. So
Exactly.
it's, honestly, I'm like, if people are scared of their finances, and that's unfortunate. And the women that come through our program every week, we are talking with financial counselors. We're like getting in their bank accounts, looking at that and being like, you need to pay this. You need to face this. Yeah, it sucks. You don't have money to go out and buy that pizza, get some rice and beans, man, pay off that credit card, because we want you to be financially secure. We want you to understand where your money comes and where it's going. And so that's part of wealth building, quite honestly.
And it's a game changer. Your life changes. So talk about some of your participants and how their life has changed based on working with you and becoming a homeowner. Just bring them into the.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. Like, our participants, one works at, she works at Amazon in fulfillment, right?
Mhm.
So she's, you get a box of something from Amazon, she probably put something in it. Another one, she's a pharmacy tech, right? So these are wage earners, right? Another one, she was wait staff and now she works for us, but she also does still wait staff. She's an extrovert, so she wants that weekend time with people. I don't know why, but like, so those guys, like, so they're wage earners, right? So because the mortgages are so low, like, this allows them, it expands the possibility of like, oh, one of them actually wants to be an urban farmer, the one that works at Amazon. So I'm like, you can do that. Your mortgage is so low, you could cut those hours in order to like follow this dream, pharmacy tech. I don't know. Maybe you want to go back to school. Maybe you want to be a nurse. Honestly, maybe you just want to be a pharmacy tech and I shouldn't say just, but maybe you want to be a pharmacy tech and do something else with your time, right? Maybe you want to write a novel. I don't know, but it's like you're able to think a little more expansively about what your life can be, because they're all in their 20s, right?
Yeah.
Like, it's
Wow.
like mid 20s.
Nice.
They're going to own these homes outright.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And like, you can, and so that's huge. That's huge.
Yes, it
So
is.
it's, and our first participant, she was the first one in her family, like on both sides, to have ever owned a home, that from like memory. So like, ask her mom, did grandma and grandpa own a home? No, I don't know. Anybody? And it's like, that is something, right?
Yes.
That is changing the trajectory of what is not only possible for her, but what her siblings see, right? It's the same thing. We have people walking up and down that block and they're like, you're all women doing this work, And it's like, yeah, for the most part, we're all women that are doing this work. And what that does is when those little girls or even those little boys, right? And they see us women, somebody got their braids and their nails and their, that ain't me. But like somebody sees that and she's carrying like a rotohammer to go like chip off some form stone, like that's powerful,
Yes, it is.
right?
Yes, it
You know
is.
what I'm saying? Like it's like, oh, I could do that too. Oh, I could do that. And so I think it's not only about the person living in the home and doing the work, it's about everybody else in that neighborhood who's walking through there and seeing each house. These dudes on the corner, they're like, they don't mess with us. They doing the corner thing. That's cool. Well, it is what it is, right? But they doing that, but they're like, you've been at this for a year now. I remember when you were doing
Wow.
this first house. And I'm like, and you're still on the corner, but but
I'm
like they
building
see
things.
it, right? And they respect it,
Yeah.
right? And I'm like, hey man, you got a sister, you got a mom, come send them to our website, blackwomenbuild.org. Tell your sister about us, because I don't know. I mean, there's going to be like 10 finished houses, and they're all like that uniformity of all this new facades and all these new homeowners holding it down. Miss Poinsett, I just have to tell the story. Miss Poinsetta, she's lived on that block since 1947. Her mother bought that house. And she has stories. She wrote a history of that block for us to share with us what she's seen over the years. And she was alone on that block for more than a decade, right? Like more than a decade. Every day she's out there with her little picker picking up garbage, telling, hey, don't sit on these steps,
Exactly.
telling those people to keep it moving. And they do. And now we get to bring the block alive again for her.
Yes.
It's not just for her, but it's like that's so cool, right? Like she gets this block again that is bustling like from she was a little girl, and it's so cool. So anyway, Miss Poinsetta, when I saw her, she had a garden in the back of her house, all these abandoned houses, right? And she has a garden, and I met her, and I was just like, I'm gonna fight for this block because she's got, you know what I'm saying? Like this woman is tending a garden with nothing else around her, and I was just like, no, we're gonna do this, and we are.
Yeah, that was where we were supposed to be. You were supposed to be.
Totally.
Absolutely. Yep. Well, Shelly, this has been wonderful. I knew it was going to be wonderful, but I'm so glad to learn more about what you are doing. I'm excited about the future for you. And I know you have a busy couple of days ahead of you, so make time to do this. And you're in our prayers, you're in our thoughts.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Thank you. And I know Tiffany's on, but she may be tied up. I want to make sure. Oh, I got a quick question. I want to learn this skill. How can I volunteer? Denise Jones, inbox me. I'm gonna send you my email right now. Denise, if you can just come off unmute, and I'm gonna send you my email. But we'll gladly make a referral for you to Shelly and other services we have at the Urban League to support you. So thank you, Denise, for being on this call. And we'll see what we can do to make things happen for you. Because I know I'm excited, but I do. Oh, Tiffany's off. I'm sorry, Tiffany.
I just wanted to say this was so dynamic and empowering. Thank you so much, Shelly. You do so much for this community and city, and we just want to support you and stand behind you and lift you up. Pray for you in your travels. I know you're traveling soon. I just sent you something. But I just want to thank you because this was really, really an amazing evening, hearing what you're doing with these young ladies and getting out there and fighting for us Black women to have our own. And like you said, that is the entering of wealth and economic development is definitely having your own and having the ability to create that generational wealth for your family. It's home ownership. So amazing, amazing job. Thank you, Nicole. This was something. I can't wait for others to rewatch it. So thank you so much and have safe travels.
Yeah, thank you so much. I appreciate it.
And I did tell we're recording this, so I'm excited about sharing this with some of our partners, Tiffany, and some of our board members as well.
Excellent.
There's a lot of great things that you are doing.
Definitely.
And, Lauren, I see your email. I'm gonna your message. I'm sending you my contact information. We would love for you to hire workforce. So Shelly, plug. So we will work on that.